Welcome to the Morning Talk with Lenora. Morning Talk. Morning Talk with Lenora.
Good morning. This is the Morning Talk with Lenora. I'm Jarvis. I'm Jonas's father and also Lenora's son. I wanted to take some time out and actually take over her video because I wanted to talk about one of my passions. This is something that me and my mother talk about all the time while I'm in California, and that's reading. I'm a big reader. Last year I did about 47 books, and this year I'm already at 44. And just about every book I've read, me and my mom had one or two conversations, or maybe I just talk and she puts the phone down. I don't know. So one of the first books that I have, You Can If You Think You Can. It's by Norman Vincent Peale. That book is probably one of my favorite books. I actually have two books. One of the books I never got back when I let someone borrow it. So if you do read books and you enjoy it, don't let anybody borrow your book. Buy another copy or give them a chance to buy it for themselves. But don't give away your book because I'm still waiting for mine. And if you're watching and you have my book, I want my book back. But let's get back to Norman Vincent Peale. He's a reverend, and he does something super amazing. He talks about things in the Bible, but he also makes it understandable for an everyday person. I grew up in church, but let's just say I don't know all the books of the Bible. And this book gave me a chance to learn some scriptures that I may have seen, I may have heard, but now as an adult, I can understand. And he encourages you from page 1 all the way to the last page. I read a lot of books, but this is one book that I could not put down. And this book is actually pretty cool because it's going to go with the overall theme of all the books I read, because I wanted to read books that can increase my own knowledge and make me overall a better person. So Norman Vincent Peale, if you can. Sorry, you can if you think you can. The next book, it's HAFIZ. It's called The Garden of Heaven. This is probably something totally outside my realm of expertise. It's poetry. I'm nowhere near poetic, but this book goes right along with Norman Vincent Peale in the fact that HAFIZ is the name of the poet, but HAFIZ is actually a title. So young men and grown men who memorize the Quran word for word gets the title of HAFIZ. And this poet, this title actually became his name. And his poetry is not something romantic, it's practical. He takes everyday things in his life and make them poetic. So when I read it, it made me look at the beauty of everything around me. You know, he is a Muslim, so it's based off of a lot of Muslim stories. But overall, if you can walk around and not just see the world, but see the plants growing, the flowers blossoming, you know, the smiles on people's face, it's going to calm you down and it's going to allow you to enjoy life better. And who doesn't want to do that? Once again, The Garden of Heaven, HAFIZ. So another book that I read and also gave me a little bit of peace, The Wisdom of Buddha. Now under it, it's actually the title, I just can't say it right. So it's the unabridged in this word right here. If you can say it, more power to you. But me, I'm just stick with The Wisdom of Buddha. And just like Norman Vincent Peale, HAFIZ, this is a book of practical knowledge. You know, and it's the words from Buddha himself. And if you're into yoga, you're into, you know, anything serene, you know about Buddha. I mean, we all have learned about Buddha, but his words are, I don't know, it's better when you read them. You know, I've learned about a lot of people throughout my life, but reading makes everything better. I just want to give a little bit of a passage just because saying it and hearing it is going to be a lot better. A wise man should leave the dark state of ordinary life and follow the bright state of the bhikshu. After going from his home for a homeless state, he should in his retirement look for enjoyment where enjoyment seemed difficult. That's the overall theme of everything I read. Finding peace, finding serenity, finding joy in the smallest things. You know, a lot of people use prayer to show their enjoyment, but you know, walking around, you don't necessarily always have to thank God, but be thankful for everything around you. That's the purpose of life, being thankful and appreciating things. The next book, super simple, still with the same theme. It's a book on meditation. Now, this book is a collection of a lot of scriptures, a lot of stories, a lot of other people's work, but it's been put together for meditation purposes. And this allows anyone who's starting off to learn meditation, it allows them to actually start off at a beginner's level and learn that meditation isn't just sitting around and just being quiet. There's stages of meditation. Meditation has a purpose. It's about being in tune with everything around you, but you have to start from your inside before you can look to the outside. Just like the rest of the books I read, it's a part of an overall theme: peace, serenity, and enjoyment of life. Now, the last book, it may seem like it's not a part of the same theme, but it's one of the themes that myself included, because there's no better person to ever read than E.B.Du Bois. And this is the Souls of Black Folk. You know, we all spent time during Black History Month learning about different black people from history, but E.B.Du Bois was a little bit different. His education was superb. I mean, he's the type of guy that when he got his education in a kind of like a Midwestern area, he went to the South. And he spent time with poor families from the South. I mean, as a teacher, college educated teacher, he went to the smallest towns and lived off of like food that people gave him, you know, and he taught kids, you know, from all ages. His classes had smaller kids to older kids. But the joy that he got out of teaching, even when he went back to see those families a little bit later on in his life, gave me nothing but peace. You know, it's kind of ironic because now I'm coming back home from California, and I bumped into a couple friends, some people in my extended family, and they got to see the joy and the peace in my life. And, you know, every time I start talking about books, they start twisting their faces like, because that's not something I would have done before I went to California. I would have glanced at a book, read a few pages, but I've actually had time to cultivate something different, to come back home with something more than what I left with. You know, a sense of peace, a sense of understanding, and it opened the door for my curiosity. So you don't always have to read the books that I recommend, but if you want to learn about anything, you're curious about anything, you know, if there's just something you don't understand, I promise you someone wrote a book on it. And if you're fortunate enough to have a library close by, they have books, and with the card, they're free. All these books I paid for. But if you can get a book for free, read it, take it back, and then get another one, you're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of me, because I'm on Amazon and I have about 50 books right now on my list. And when they get up to be about $25, I was like, nah, next time I'll find a book about $15, save me $10. That's a movie and a meal. Okay, maybe not a movie and a meal, but that's a movie at least. Well, Thank you again for watching the Morning Talk with Lenora. I'm her son Jarvis. And don't forget the one book that we all should have read, because I know I have. And that's going to be The Mirror Image of Me. I know I gave my 5 books, but I purchased my mom's book. I read it, and I actually have it in my luggage right now. She signed it. I would show it, but it's a collector's item. I can't let anyone get no fingerprints on it. When I read my mom's book, it was very challenging because we talked. I went through everything right along with her. But this is a book about her thoughts that I didn't know. You know, I won't be bashful about it. It brought tears to my eyes because I didn't know how much pain, you know, how hard my mom worked to put a smile on her face. And if you have anybody in your family, no matter if they're going through anything or not, this is a good book to have on your shelf because it shows someone else's struggle and someone else's triumph. And that's always about encouragement. And that goes with the overall theme of everything. So you all have a wonderful day and tune into Miss Lenora Cash's next video. And this is the Morning Talk with Lenora.
So y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel and like it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to answer.